Jess. Okay, so the 22nd equinox is also a very big day for Jess. Super excited because Jess is closing on her new house today. So sending you lots and lots of good vibes today, Jess. Super exciting. Thank you. This is from Realm and Reason. She's out of Lancaster. It's like clearly become my personal mission lately to support all local artisans. So, hey Susie. Are you excited, Jess? I'm excited for you. I don't even know what time it is. I don't even know if I went on here exactly 9 or not, but give people another minute or so. Whew. And while we're here chatting, Brandy and I have the Fairy Oracle Circle on Thursday, and there is one spot available. So if you are interested in joining us for that, go ahead and give me a message, an email, something like that, and we'll get you in. Ooh, lots to discuss. I can't wait. I'll send you a message after this live. So, okay. Today I want to start this discussion about money. All right? And I say start it and I say discussion because this is a very heated and divisive subject. And the reason it's coming up is because all of the fundamental systems are coming up for review. And the biggest, one of the most biggest and powerful of systems is, of course, currency, money. And so I asked you guys last night what your thoughts were, and several of you left some really interesting comments that really illuminated for me that there's so many layers to discuss here, and there's so many layers within our own psyche that inform us about our relationship to money. And a lot of our relationship to money is brought through from our lineage. So obviously most recently our parents, but then our parents were affected by their parents, and so on and so forth. So it's really a complex, psychological, layered, intense discussion when we start talking about money. So I want to be mindful and respectful of that. And I want to just preface this by saying that this is us attempting to see the bigger picture while also honoring each of our small pictures, each of our, the way our energy interacts with the concept of money, because we all have our stories, we all have our traumas, we all have our prejudices, we all have our hangups and our blocks, and it is one of the most damaging things, and I want to address this first, that we could do when it comes to money is to make judgments on others based off of their lack of it or their excess of it. Because it goes both ways, and I've seen it play out both ways, and both of those energies are very non-constructive and really create even more division and controversy within oneself. So I want to say that first. Now, at its core, money is an exchange that we currently use, right? It's energy. It's a way of compensating somebody for their expertise and time. It's how we keep our economy going, right? But isn't it so much more than that? I was talking with a friend yesterday about money, and we went really kind of deep really fast because I have amazing friends. We love to rabbit hole. But it became really clear in talking about the concept of money that this is yet another way that we hold ourselves down, right? Somehow we just accept that there are some people who are going to hold the bulk of the wealth, right? And then we have been taught either directly or indirectly through many, many, many different avenues, but a lot of religious-based teaching that accumulation of wealth is ungodly, that wealth should be given away, that you should be supporting the church, that if you that you should only have what you need and nothing more. There is a type of holiness to be found in almost poverty level living if it's your choice. You hear what I'm saying? So it's not seen as holy for the homeless person on the side of the street living at poverty level, but it is seen as holy as the person who has walked away from their ability to have any type of wealth and has decided they're going to live the bare minimum existence, and jump into that ascetic type of realm and not connect with money anymore. That is somehow holy. So we have to look at those two things because there's a disparity there. I can digress really far in that, but I'm going to keep moving. So we're taught that money is the root of all evil, is something that we need to really understand our relationship with. We've all known people who have become very materialistic and very money-centric, money-driven. Perhaps our parents or our spouse or whomever is a person who is work to constantly make the money, and then you don't get to have that quality time with them because they're always working and they have to work because they need to support the lifestyle, right? So it is one of those things that gets us in this loop that we don't even think about anymore. I know that the way that I was raised, my dad worked all the time. We hardly saw him. And he was doing that to provide us with a certain level of lifestyle. But in the doing of that, we hardly saw him. We didn't connect with him. It's only been later in my life as an adult that I've gotten to know my dad, because before he was way too busy and he was never home. So these are things that happen in a society where the regular person is taught that they need to continually work hard, and accumulate. And we have created a society, or we have fed into the creation of a society that is extremely materialistic and driven by things. And that has contributed, of course, to our being cut off from nature and feeling ourselves very removed from the earth upon which we live. So as we move into New Earth energy, as everything is under review, it's time to look again at our relationship to money. I know a lot of people have told me that they hate money, okay? They hate it, and they wish they didn't need it, and they don't want anything to do with it, and they just would prefer to live in a barter system. Okay, and that's kind of the way that they see it going, that would be much better. And I don't disagree that a barter system would be delightful. However, this is like everybody saying we're jumping from 3D to 5D. What about the fourth, right? You can't go from one extreme to another extreme without transition. So while we can all agree that foundationally the system of money needs to be changed, we can also maybe agree that that's not going to happen by us just deciding we don't like money anymore. Because what truly needs to happen is the extreme wealth that is in the hands of the few who do not have good intentions, who do not have the hearts open, hands open, minds open to connect and help this earth heal and its inhabitants heal. All of the money is in the hands of people who are just feeding into the greed cycle. Wouldn't it make more sense to redirect that flow to people who are actually going to affect change and more equally distribute, right? So I was talking to my other friend yesterday. I'm going to read you what she wrote because I found it really intriguing. This is from Erin Schrader of The Rebel Herbalist, okay? Are you ready? She says, I always look to nature for truth. In nature, currency is sugar. Everything is always shuttling sugars around because this is packaged light. Trees are sugar hoarders, so to speak. They bind tons of starches in their bark, leaves, roots, etc., and this makes a stable resource bank that gets shuttled around by all of the other elements of the ecosystem. In a meadow, the grasses and flowers are holding the starches and being eaten and moving the currency through the system. In the ocean, it's the plankton. There are pillars of the ecosystem that produce and create a stable repository of currency that fuels the whole engine of life. We have created a similar structure in our culture. A few people are the trees, and they hold all of the currency, releasing it slowly to the rest of us to keep the ecosystem going. The difference is, a tree in a forest knows that in order for it to be healthy, the entire ecosystem needs to be healthy too. So, I'll leave that with you, and I will post it with Erin's permission as well so you can read it. But that really struck me because when we're talking about something that's so pervasive and upon which our whole existence is currently built, it can be overwhelming to think, like, how do we even change this, right? And we talk so much about manifesting, right? And there's been a lot of criticism about manifesting abundance because it kind of goes against that puritanical teaching of not taking more than you need, right? But I'm just gonna leave this out there based on this ecosystem idea. What if that is keeping us from claiming our power? When I talk to some people about money and I ask them, okay, if you had like, let's just say $22 million in your checking account, how would your decisions in life look, right? What would you be doing with your time? How would you be affecting change? Who would be able to manipulate you or make you do something you don't want to do? Right now, money does equate power. We know this, and it's been ugly and gross and horrible. And so it's no wonder that we associate that nefarious evil with money itself. But money is just energy. It is just energy. And so we have to look more at the energies that are controlling it and not necessarily at the inanimate object itself, right? So the concept of money is what we need to look at and who is holding it. Wouldn't it make so much sense? And that's kind of like so weird to think about the past few days, but wouldn't it make so much sense if like that 1%, right, that we always talk about that have this incredible amassed wealth that they could do anything, shuttle up to the moon, like whatever it is. What if that wealth was us? What if we had that kind of currency? What if we had that kind of power? And I feel like that's the thinking that is coming through now, that we don't have to not, that we can align with that vibration so that we can be the ones that are affecting the change, making the decisions, and changing the way everything is being run, and moving into a more feminine energy about money, because at this time, money has a very masculine energy. It's a very driving force. It doesn't rest. It's constantly plowing forward, and we're constantly running after it, right? But instead, moving into that feminine energy where it pulls in, we don't chase anything, right? We hold space. We affect change by being in touch with ourselves and our hearts. And the more that we heal here, the more that we heal the traumas that we have associated with money and lack of money and too much money and inequality of wealth, the more we are able to make different decisions. So I'm starting this conversation with you guys today because it feels like a big a big one that I would like to engage in more. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'd love to hear your criticisms of it, because I don't know the answers here. I'm just very interested in it, and I've witnessed so much divisive behavior around it. And as we learn how powerful we are as manifestors, it's become really clear that one of the biggest ways to make massive change is to hold the wealth, and to not be ashamed of doing that. And I have a lot of other thoughts that are just not able to formulate at this time. So I feel like that means it's an ongoing conversation. But again, I'd love to hear what you think about it. Hey, Erin. And moving into this equinox energy, I think is a good time to examine all of those relationships, because it was moving in that inward space now. We're definitely feeling into that. The other thing I want to talk to you about money in the spiritual community is about compensating somebody for their time and energy, okay? I have so many people who come to me, and not that I do this, like I advertise this, but I end up doing a lot of business coaching, okay? And one of the biggest things is people not feeling comfortable charging actual money for their services. And one of the reasons, when we start digging into that, why women especially, and mostly, are not comfortable charging for their expertise and their services, if their expertise and services are not from a male energy standpoint. And what do I mean by that? Well, if they don't have a degree in something, if they don't have certain specific world qualifications for something, if they haven't been in the field for a really long time, you name it. There's a laundry list of reasons why women won't charge for their time. And because there's also that feeling that as women, we're supposed to take care of everybody and ask for nothing in return. But that builds resentment. So while we're talking about money, let's talk about that. So when you offer something, right? Like something very simple. Let's just say card readings, okay? Because we're all familiar with that, right? We all have people in our lives at this point, right, who pull cards. Pull cards. Will you pull me a card? Pull me a card. Now, boundaries come into play here, of course, but we, and realize that we do this, and it's okay, because it's just part of learning, right? But you might ask a friend to pull you a card a lot. You might ask a friend who is a very intuitive person, what's your read on that? What's your take on that? Will you come and clear my house for me? Will you do this for me? Because you know that they're super magical and have these things. You would never go into a massage salon and say to one of the massage therapists, hey, give me a massage for free. You would never walk into a store and just take something and leave, right? But somehow it's okay to ask our friends with spiritual abilities that they have honed over time and probably done a lot of training on, it's okay to ask them to do free stuff. And that's not right. And what's also not right is how difficult it is for said person to put a boundary down and say, no, like, this is what I do. And at this time, we don't pay our rent and utilities off of kitten kisses. So you need to pay. It's that simple, right? So this is difficult, right? Especially see it in the yoga community. People, for some reason, don't think they need to pay for yoga classes. Do you think that yoga teacher training is free? No. Do you not honor and respect the time that your teacher has put into her craft? And do you not realize that charging $10 for an hour of their time is peanuts? Do you not realize that yoga teachers especially cannot make a living off of teaching yoga, which helps so many people to be better, to do better, to feel better, and to heal, right? So we really need to rethink these things. Think about where your energy is going and where your respect is going, and question your belief systems around what you should be paying for and what you shouldn't be paying for. Because if something is of value to you, then you need to show that to the person who is giving you that service, okay? We have Rose commenting, I'm sorry, I can't see very well. And Rose teaches yoga and aerial yoga. This has happened to me teaching yoga, or I set a price and then they try and talk me down. Yes, it's happened to me too. And the wild thing about it, right, is that no one will have any qualms paying like $90 for an hour massage. But an hour of any type of metaphysical work should be free, or it should be a really, really low price. And these are the things that we in this community need to start putting boundaries on and saying enough is enough, because this work is important and it is helping, and you can't do this work if you can't afford to do it in any kind of capacity, because it basically drains your resources instead of replenishing them, okay? I know for me, it takes a lot of my energy and a lot of my time to do readings, to do these live videos, to create courses, all the things that I do. They drain me because I am my product. So if I can't afford to keep myself running, if I can't afford to take a break to replenish me, my product, then I can't give you what it is you're looking for. So it's really, really time to start looking at the things that you value and acting like you value them, and not asking our magical friends to be magical for free all the time, because that's disrespectful, right? And then on the practitioner side, on the side of the person who feels like they have to give all the time, this is about boundaries. And this sucks as a boundary, especially when your friends are used to receiving for free. But it's also ethical, and that's a whole other thing. But when it comes to readings, right, it is not ethical to give your close friends intuitive readings. There is no way that you as a human are able to pull your ego out enough to give a clear, concise reading to somebody you're very close with, and you know way too many of the details and you're very invested. So as a rule, in intuition mentorship, it's just straight out. You don't give readings to close family members or close friends, because it's just a bad idea. But we definitely would do card pulls with each other, right? Where we pull a card for you and like, here's what the book says. That feels like an okay thing for me, and like you feel that out for yourself. But it's really important that we set our boundaries and then enforce them, and that we as the practitioners say, no, you need to respect me. I will be respected. That is step one, because people treat you how you teach them to treat you. And if you don't value what you bring to the table, you can't expect others to value you either. So thinking about that, as we move into the new earth energy, the things that are of most value are the things that people used to laugh about 10 years ago, right? Nowadays, especially in this area, it is not strange to go get energy work. In fact, isn't it vital at this time? Don't we all need energy work? But somehow, it is still seen as something that should be given. And that is what I would love us to kind of look at, especially like from the consumer side, yes, but especially from the practitioner side, because we kind of believe it too, right? Because we like to help people. And so we don't want to say no to anybody because they can't afford it. We don't want to hear somebody say like, I'd really love to do this, but I don't have the money right now. That triggers something in us that makes us want to say, it's okay, you don't have to. But guess what? That's not the way either. Because and you know this for yourself, right? If something is that important for you, you will save up, right? And it will mean that much more. When you do not give an exchange of some sort for a service, you are not in an honor agreement with the person giving you the service. That is an imbalance, okay? So like I say, when, for the reactivation program, I'll give you this as an example. When you purchase that program, the act of you purchasing it connects us together in sacred agreement, because you are putting in your energy and I am putting in my energy. So we're co-creating together and we have a connection and we have a symbiosis, okay? If I were to just give you this program for free, you have no skin in the game. Same thing with readings. Somebody comes and it's a free reading, there's no skin in the game. There's no idea for them that they also need to do something because this is important. So you have people who will come to you nonstop for free readings because when you give them the first reading, they're like, I could just come back again, so I'm not really gonna make any changes, right? So respecting each other's time and entering into that agreement is very important. It doesn't mean it has to be money all the time, but some energy exchange needs to take place for there to be balance in that relationship and for both parties to feel that, okay? Good, I'm glad, Rose. I'm starting to set them better myself as well. It's difficult because none of us want to be mean like that, right? But we also need to respect ourselves, and that's kind of where it goes. So I think that's all I have today on money. I would love it if you would hop onto the restoration group and put any other comments on that thread about the money, and we'll start to kind of address that. If you have questions that you feel like would be good topics to kind of launch off on that, we'll continue with this because it feels like an evolving discussion, and I'm just really interested in opening that up and not having it be something we don't talk about anymore. So that's what's happening today. I hope you guys have an awesome, awesome, awesome Tuesday. I just posted this morning the cards for the equinox that we pulled yesterday, so you can check those out. And I will see some of you tonight for Intuition Workshop. Love you guys. Mwah.